Alright, what's going on, y'all? So today, in today's video, we're going to be going over some of my Yummy Mitsurugi gameplay replay videos. Honestly, I don't really know what type of content to be making right now because we're in such a transitional type of period where, like, most of the format content ideas are already done. We already did the deck tier list, the best hand trap tier list, the best board breaker tier list. Like, I'm not going to repeat that again. I got to save those, for when the next ban list comes out to repeat the cycle, or else, I can't be making a new tier list every week because it kind of defeats the purpose of it, and like no one wants to see that anymore. But I do want to post something currently right now, and it's kind of hard to like come up with a video idea that like everyone will like, right? Because everyone plays different decks and stuff. But this is a deck that I've been enjoying, and honestly, fuck it, it's my channel, right? So it's a deck that I've been playing a lot. I've been having a lot of fun playing this deck. Actually, it's probably one of the most fun decks I've played in a while. I have not played lots of dueling book in the most recent years, but I have as of recent, and I want to go over some gameplay for y'all, just to talk about some things that's like you can't really find in a traditional video. Like, I don't want to make this video titled like, oh, Yummy Mitsurugi combo tutorial, or like 3 different combos that you can do with Mitsurugi Rise, or not some Mitsurugi Yummy, right? Because I feel like those are so like practical, like you're not actually using them in gameplay. I feel like if I go over replays, specifically my replays, I can walk you guys through my thought process and then go into more of like the intricate details of like the technical play when you're actually playing this deck, stuff that you wouldn't like come up in like a YouTube video, or like stuff that you wouldn't in theory about, but just stuff that like happens when you're actually playing a game, right? So let's go ahead and get started. I got 3 replays for you guys, and we'll just like go through them and then just talk over them. They might not be the most exciting replays in the world, but but there's probably some insight there somewhere, and I can touch over those type of things, and then we can like end up talking about like why I made certain decisions and things that I can improve on as well, right? So with that being said, I know kind of a long intro, but let's go ahead and get started on the first replay. Alright, y'all, so first replay here is going to be against Malice. First of all, let's get this out of the way. I'm painfully aware that I'm pretty lucky to have won the die roll. If you guys have watched my last video before this thing is like a straight up FTK if it goes first, and even drawing cards like Droll and Lockbird is not going to help my case here, right? Because like if you look at this hand, since I won the die roll, let's go. Yeah, I'm not beating Allure of Darkness, Malice and Underground, March Hare, Chessy Cat. Like, dude, I can Droll them after Allure. I can Droll them after the Chessy Cat draw, but the Malice and Underground is still gonna get to everything that they need, right? So, like, very scary deck, but good thing we didn't win the die roll. So let's go ahead and talk about some things that I did, right? So honestly, off rip, I'm looking at this hand immediately. So there's a few things that we can actually just go over right now that I think that could be important information, actually. Things that you wouldn't find in a regular YouTube video, right? Is that here I have Prayers, Prep, and Saji as my engine cards. Now, in this particular format, I feel like Droll and Lockbird is gaining a lot of popularity, and I think your first action should be an action that plays around Droll and Lockbird the best, right? And what I mean by that is that I want to be able to kind of set up Murakumo, if I have Prayers, obviously, Murakumo before I do anything else, because then the Droll and Lockbird will take 2 cards, because then I can use Murakumo's effect. They have to discard a card. So you take a lot more tax out of them. And then number 2, you can resolve your ritual sends. Like, for example, if you send Aramasa to the graveyard first, then at least you can search from that first before you do anything else. So here I thought that, but for some reason I didn't do it. I don't remember if I did. I didn't do it right. Yeah, I started with Prep first, which I shouldn't have done. So my logic here was Prep is that if I get Drolled here, I can chain Prayers and still get to Murakumo, to summon Murakumo, because I'll have Mirror, right? And I kind of want him to Ash this Prep, because it's completely like, it's a counterintuitive card, because Prep and Prayers, like we draw 2 of them together, they're just redundant. So like, it's a little bit greedy here by me trying to activate this Prep and getting it Ash Blossomed, because there's a chance they don't even Ash Blossom this too, right? So I think it's a little bit of a mistake on my part. And if I get Drolled here, then I don't get like good value out of it, right? So what I will get is I'll be able to ritual summon Murakumo, because let's say, for example, if they draw me after pre-prep, I can chain Prayers to grab Murakumo, activate Mitsurugi Ritual to summon out Murakumo. But then I don't have Prayers, so then I have to make oh, I can't view extra deck, but I have to make Dynamundo. as my interruption to bring back Murakumo on my opponent's turn. But instead of doing that, I can just go prayers for Saji and draw phase. Get Aramasa, and Aramasa and Saji will trigger, which will get me a Mitsurugi Ritual spell and the Murakumo. And then immediately I can Ritual Summon that from my hand, and then if he draws me after that, not only do I take 2 cards out of his hand, like I said earlier, because I'll Murakumo to make him try to negate or discard. Obviously, they will discard because they want to resolve draw. And then my Aramasa, for me sending it to graveyard, can still add back Mirror, and I still have, or add back, not Mirror, Prayers, I mean. So then I get Murakumo and Prayers, and I take away 2 cards out of their hand, which is something I should have done at all, but, you know, this is honestly why that's kind of good to go over your replays, right? So, yeah, I kind of got a little bit greedy by trying to make him use Ash, but at that point, this doesn't really make any sense because this card isn't even a guaranteed Ash, and I play into draw more for, like, no reason. So, you know, in the future, if I ever see this type of hands, I'll definitely think about it more to get more value, right? Okay, so he doesn't have draw, luckily, so we're able to combo anyway. So I go ahead and do my combo, go activate Habakiri. This is pretty standard. I drew Saji, so obviously my Habakiri has to get something else. So I get Aramasa, then Aramasa will go ahead and Ritual Summon this out. I Ritual Summon this. My whole goal here is to obviously get 2 level 8s on field to make my zombie vampire while getting as many searches as I can before that. So this way I'm able to get prayers and purification before anything happens, which is like really, really good. Because if something does happen here, for example, like if I get hit with a Nibiru here, I still have prayers and purification, which prayers will let me board wipe them. Then afterwards, if they have an extender, I can use purification to send the Murakumo that I bring off prayers. So it's like, I mean, the Nib is going to obviously hurt in this particular hand. But I at least get a Raigeki and a Omni Negate plus a Draw and Lockbird on top, and hopefully that's enough through the Nibiru, right? So that's important why I try to get value out of my searches here. We're going to go ahead and make Zombie Vampire, activate effect, and then he scoops. Because I think he was waiting to see if I was playing pure Mitsurugi or not. Usually when you go to Zombie Vampire, it's pretty obvious that you're playing Yummy at that point. So next game, like I said, this is FTK. As you guys can see, I have Fuolos and he has Ash Blossom. So I Ash Blossom, he Fuos, and I just scoop. Well, first of all, my hand is pretty poor to begin with. Second of all, like I said in the last video that I made, Malice is just an FTK, so no reason to play that. This hand is absolutely insane. This hand's pretty funny. I've noticed this interaction come up a lot where I have preparation and they have Ash, but they don't Ash prep. Like I said in game 1, it's not a guarantee that they Ash the pre-prep, which I think you should, because if we went back to my game 1 hand, right? You guys notice I have prayers, Saji, and pre-preparation of right, and I told you guys that the right play was to play the prayers first to beat the Droll and Lockbird, right? So what this means is that by activating pre-prep first, it, in theory, should deduct that they don't have another Mitsurugi card like a Habakiri or a prayers, because typically you would want to use those first before you activate the pre-prep, because the pre-prep plays into Droll and Lockbird, right? So when they activate pre-prep first, I do think, unless they misplay like I did, I do think it's low-key a sign that their hand is mid. Obviously, they could have like a Yummy name, of course, right? But like, I think I'm just analyzing my opponent at this point. I think like it's pretty hard for my opponent to beat full combo anyway. So no matter where he ashes, I'm still gonna end on some half board. So I think the best line of action is to start with pre-prep. I think you should just ash it. I know it's kind of like biased towards his hand because obviously like I lose if he ashes here, but I do think it does make sense some way. And if not, you definitely should ash, which he does ash. He ashes Saji, but then it's kind of lucky that I just drew Murakumo. So I don't know. I think it's very interesting that we should think about this. Like, should he have ashes? I don't think it's a terrible ash, right? But yeah, I think it's pretty funny because and honestly, I'm just gonna go on a tangent because whatever, it's my channel. So I do think it's kind of funny because I made a video maybe about a year ago, and the title of the video is called "Why You Should Be Bad at Yu-Gi-Oh." Obviously, it's like kind of like clickbait and troll, but the point, like the the premise of the video and what I'm trying to get at is that, like, if you're super bad, you can accidentally just win the game, or you're just really good and you understand that it's correct to do certain things. But if you're an okay player, then you actually end up overthinking a lot of your plays, right? And I think this is kind of like an example of that. I don't know if it's like an accurate example of that, but like, think about this, right? If my opponent is terrible, like they're super bad at the game, right? The moment they see a card that says add and it like lights up like Master Duel, oh, they're ashing for sure. They're not even gonna think about it. And in this scenario, they're gonna win the game here. If he's an okay player, like how he is here, he's gonna be like, okay, I kind of don't want to ash this because I know Mitsurugi Yummy has a lot of extenders. Oh man, what if he has an extender? Then my ash is gonna be useless. I don't want to ash something random, so maybe I'll hold the ash, you know, for something middle of the combo or something like that, right? And that's like what a mid-level player would think, an average player. Now, if you're, I think, a really good player, which is the next tier of player, then you'll think to yourself what I just thought, right? Like, oh, okay, he's activating pre-prep first. All right, I'm really good, and I can deduct that that might be a sign of a weak hand. I'll just ash it. So I think that's pretty funny. Like, you know, him not ashing here is, I don't know, right? Like it kind of just reinforces the point that I was trying to make in that particular video whenever I made it like a long time ago. Anyways, I just go ahead and full combo this guy. Essentially, there's nothing to really watch here. I pretty much get to full combo. He's gonna be able to ash my Saji, and then it doesn't matter because I have Mitsurugi Ritual, and then this will get me to 2 level 8s, and spoiler, I do hit a Yummy name, so I full combo, and I have Bell for his Magnuma, which I think about first if I should Bell this. I don't know why I even thought so long. I obviously have to Bell because I don't have Engine, so I have to be able to get another level 8 to the field to be able to get into my Mitsurugi engine, or not Mitsurugi engine, my Yummy engine, right? So it's kind of broken here. I drew like kind of perfect. I drew like obviously, like if I don't have another ritual name there and he ashes my Saji, then it could have worked, but I luckily just had the Murakumo, and then I also had Bell for his Bisteel, so it's just like, I don't know, it just kind of like worked out, right? So I'm not gonna waste your time there. That's pretty much for this entire replay. I pretty much hit a Yummy name, do my full combo, flip anti-spell, have Droll and Lockbird, and GG, right? So pretty interesting game there. Not too much to go over, but something to like think about and whatever. I'm just kind of spitballing the video, right? So let's go ahead and go to the second replay, and I'll talk about that real quick. Alright guys, so for this second replay, is going to be pretty much a fast game. I'm playing against a 60 card Yummy pile, and I happen to win the die roll, which is obviously very good. But looking at this hand, I think I win going second anyway because I have Dark Ruler No More, and I have a very strong hand to back up the Dark Ruler No More, and he doesn't have any non-engine outside of Droplet, so this is like nothing essentially. This is probably one of the worst going first non-engines. It's not like I'm playing against an Ash Blossom or a Droll and Lockbird. Obviously Droll and Lockbird will be the strongest one, but I do think, yeah, like it's funny because like in his particular hand, I think it's better for him to not even use this Obedience School, because if he uses this Obedience School, he won't be able to get to his Mitsu engine, and yeah, right. And if he doesn't have Mitsu engine, it's even worse because then he doesn't even have like a backup Mitsurugi play after the Dark Ruler No More. If he just Obedience Schools straight up, then, you know, he obviously can only summon Beasts. So I just Dark Ruler, and I just don't really have to deal with anything backed up. But luckily, I won Dyro anyway, and he doesn't have anything besides Droplet, which is, I'm sorry, bro, like, that's not enough, right? So let's go ahead and let's go over this replay. I think it's pretty quick, to be honest. Start with Haba. I go Saji. Okay, yeah, like, so from the first replay, I told you guys about, like, the whole Saji prayers interaction. So this is the game after that, so I did fix it. So perfect example here, I have pre-prep and I have Haba. You see how, like, most of the time, like, if they have Haba, or if they have prayers, they're just going to use that first, because it's the better card to draw. So, for example, you know, you can kind of deduct that, like, you know, like, the pre-prep being first, just to reiterate the point from the last one, is always going to typically mean that their hand doesn't contain the other Mitsurugi card, right? So I fixed that in this game state because, you know, I don't want to activate pre-prep, get Droll and Lockbird there, because in this case, if I do get Droll and Lockbird here, I can still Ritual Summon Haba out from, I can Ritual Summon Murakumo out from my deck by setting the Haba, And then even though I don't have access to prayers because I'm going to draw, if he does draw me, I can still make that a window. And then that at least will give, you know, the Murakumo will still have an effect on my opponent's turn. So obviously it doesn't have draw activate. It's a ritual. Ritual sub from the hand. Pretty standard. Add ritual and I add Futsu. Go ahead and ritual out Futsu, this from Murakumo. Futsu effect to add prayers. I do main deck the trap card, Purification, but I like to get prayers first if I don't have it, because prayers is the better one to nib. And I prioritize playing around nib more game 1 than something like a Dark Ruler game 1. Although that could honestly change because there's a big trend right now, and honestly even I'm doing it, my maining Dark Ruler no more. So obviously like things can change, but that's kind of like a meta call type thing. Not right now, right? So I go ahead and I hit a Yummy name and he just scoops. Pretty standard. So this game, he goes first. His hand is absolutely insane. He has Yummy Engine and Prayers, and I have Dark Ruler, and I have Haba, and I have Bell as my non-engine. So as we can see, my hand is the stones. Again, I have 2 ways to engine, and they're the strongest ways to engine, because Haba is better than like using a prayers, because you can use prayers as a way to push through a board by saving it. Like you don't have to prayers into Haba. And then I have Cup C, so that means it's not like a cookie, for example. I can get surprised immediately off that. So I have the 2 strongest starters in my deck, backed up with a Dark Ruler no more. So I kind of evaluate this hand, and I'm trying to eliminate the ways that I can lose the most with this hand. And what I mean by that is this, right? So this Ghost Spell, I see that he activates Engage, and obviously there's a world where I can Ghost Spell Kagari to add back drones and hope that he doesn't have anything else, or I can use Ghost Spell like defensively, like, you know, when he activates Yummy Surprise or whatever like that, right? But I think the only way I lose this game is if he has a going first trap along with anything. Like, it doesn't matter what he has. Like, I beat pretty much everything. I think I even beat Droll and Lockbird, because I have the Yummy, and I have 2 Yummy names. So the only way I lose, I think, is if he has a Dimensional Barrier backed up with his board, and I'm committed, because I already have a broken hand, so I'm going to commit to never using this Ghost Spell, because then I'm just adding more ways for him to get to Dimensional Barrier. Why? Because they play Thrust also, right? Or like people can play Thrust, so like why increase my chances of, when I already have a good hand, of activating this Ghost Spell on something that could potentially maybe or maybe not stop him when I don't really need to. And if he has Dimensional Barrier, he just has it. But if I activate Ghost Spell now, I can increase my chance from like 3-dimensional barrier to like 6, because they play like 3 Thrust, for example. And this is a pretty solid game plan, to be honest. Like, this Ghost Spell is almost never going to stop him. The chances of it happening is like 1%, to be honest. Just an arbitrary number, but probably like 1%. And like, since I know now it's Yummy Mitsu because of Engage, or not Engage, but because it's like 60 cards, right? So like, all I really have to do is just Dark Ruler. And if he decides to leave Murakumo on board, I could just Bell Murakumo from coming back. So I can get rid of like his board and his like backup plan through the board with the Bell. So it's just pretty straightforward. This hand just wins as long as he doesn't have a go first trap. I just have to sit here and do nothing. So let's go ahead and watch him play with himself. He's gonna activate drone into Kagari, Kagari into drones, drones into the Cupsy Synchro, search Cupsy, send the meows. He also has Metal Tronus backup too, which is like pretty strong, to be honest, but my hand is just way too cracked. He's gonna Lollipo into this, into the Herald. No reason for him to link off Herald because he already has access to Mitsu Engine. He's gonna use Marshmallow. So I think that's a misplay there that a lot of like people, not a lot, but like people can make right there. Like, it's pretty tempting to like want to Bell the surprise there, because then it kind of forces him to like use Arclight or not have surprise in rotation. But yeah, no reason, right? Just think about your hand a little bit and just don't like move. So he's gonna go Ritual Spell, add Mirror, go crazy. Here I'm a little bit worried because he can get to trap, which is pretty annoying, to be honest, which is why like going first in the mirror is just too broken sometimes. I side Lightning Storm as well, just so I can have more pairs. So Dark Ruler is obviously not once per turn. So if I draw another Dark Ruler or I draw a Lightning Storm, then it can help out a lot, right? But it is worrisome. But typically most people, if they don't have access to prayers, which he had to use to get to Habakiri, they're most of the time not going to search the trap if they don't have prayers, right? So in this hand, I know that he doesn't have prayers because he had a prayers into Habakiri, so the chances that he searches a trap is pretty low. But he should have recognized that, like, he should add a trap, to be honest. Okay, so he goes ahead and summons his Magician's Souls, going crazy. Resummon his Herald, activate effect, he searches out prayers, which is really, really good for me. And then he sets 3 cards. My turn, I draw Ash Blossom, which is completely not needed, by the way, but it just makes my life a million times easier because now I can Ash Murakumo and I can Bell fucking Surprise, which is kind of funny because well, we'll watch the replay after. I Ash Murakumo, which I didn't need to. I only did it just to show him that, like, I had everything. But it's kind of funny because, like, there's a chance that, like, Metaltronus could screw me over, right? So if I know Murakumo isn't, like, beating me, I should probably hold the Ash for Metaltronus, but my head wasn't even thinking about Metaltronus, to be honest. So I'll kind of show you guys what I mean when I show the whole, like, replay. So I activate Dark Ruler, activate Haba, get that guy. He tags out just so he has more space. Saji effect, he's gonna activate Surprise. I Bell it because whatever. Because I have Ash from Murakumo, so I don't care. That's what I'm saying. For example, like, if he if I don't draw the Ash, then it doesn't matter. I just don't Bell the Surprise, because Surprise bringing back, like, whatever is, like, doesn't matter, right? Because Murakumo's gonna wipe the field anyway. And the Yummy tag outs is just gonna grab him follow up. So this Ash is, like, definitely just not needed. It's just, like, it just ends the game faster. That's it. So I'm gonna do my effects. Add the Mitsurugi ritual and add Futsu. Go ahead and ritual out Murakumo to wipe, and this effect is gonna activate prayers, which I negate. The only thing I care about, there's no point for him to, like, let this go through, to be honest. But it doesn't really matter here. He activates Murakumo, then I activate Ash Blossom, which is, like, kind of funny. You see him where this is, like, kind of, like, awkward. You know what I mean? Like, for example, right? Like, so what I just did there was he activated Murakumo, and I activated Ash Blossom. But, like, if Murakumo comes back and it destroys 2 of my monsters, I just summon a Yummy and I still kill him anyway. But in this particular game state, when I Ash Murakumo, he could have easily just, like, Solemn Warninged my Yummy name, and then I have to, like, gamble by making Zombie Vampire. Obviously, I'm probably gonna hit, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just Ash to Ash, or not Solemn Warning, Metaltronus, right? Where, like, if I just allowed him to Murakumo wipe my board, because it doesn't matter, I don't care about him destroying Murakumo or Haba, then if he flips Metaltronus, I can just Ash the Metaltronus. Even, I know I win this game, but, like, it's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, you probably shouldn't, like, just throw your cards out there because you think you're in such a winning position. Like, I could have easily, you know, been in a weird game state. For example, right, let's say I summon this, like, Marshmallow Yummy, he Metaltronuses, I no longer have Ash, right? And then I make Zombie Vampire, and for some godsend reason, I miss off the Zombie Vampire. Then I would be like, dude, why did I Ash as Murakumo that, like, I didn't care about, just to, like, show him that I had Ash, essentially, when I could have just Ashed the Metaltronus, right? But you know, yeah, obviously it doesn't matter here, but it's honestly something to think about. I just did not think about Metaltronus at all. So not easily, but, like, there's, like, a weird world where I could have lost this game, where I shouldn't have lost this game, because I decided to just, like, Ash Murakumo just for fun, just to, like, basically tell him, like, oh yeah, I have everything, bro, like, just scoop, you know. So it's kind of funny there. But that's gonna be it for this replay, right? And so let's go ahead and go over to the last replay, and that'll be it. Alright, so for this last replay, I'm going to be playing against Pure Yummy. So let's go ahead and talk about this game. Alright, off the bat, this is actually kind of funny because I looked at this a little bit earlier and thought this to myself. So he starts off with Perulia obviously to make Almiraj, especially some of his Yummy names, which is kind of funny because in most worlds, I think that play is fine. And I understand where he's coming from. Like, I get why he's doing this. It's not like I'm asking like, oh, like why do you do this, right? Like I get why he's doing this. The theory of like doing this is to make Amraj special, Lolipo, make Cupsy Synchro, to like play around, you know, like tagging out, right? So like you can play around Imperm a lot better by doing this. However, you already have Cupsy and you already have Lolipo. So I think in his position, I would summon the Lolipo because he doesn't have an out to Fuelos. So for example, if he summons this, which he does, right? He summons his Perulia. I don't have Fua, obviously, but let's say I do have Fua. Well, now it's very awkward, right? Because he has to make Amaraj to keep going, which is one draw. Then he has to special a name. And then he has to make the Snatchy under the thing and then give me 2 draws. So he's giving me 2 draws for essentially no reason. He loses his Perulia. But with Cupsy, you already beat Imperm. So there's no reason to summon this Perulia to beat Imperm. You're like, it's kind of like no reason, right? You generate an extra body, but you play more into Fua. But that extra body isn't like worth it. It's not like, you know, it isn't like the difference between you losing to a hand trap or not, because your hand is so filled with engine, right? So, you know, I mean, it could be like a difference between winning or losing, right? Like, I mean, that one extra draw I get could easily be that Dark Ruler, right? So if he just summons Lolipo, I think it's a lot better. And if I Imperm the Snatchy, sure, special Cupsy, right? Because the whole point is like trying to play around the effect negation by having the second body. But like I don't say like he's a bad player because of this, just because like I get where his brain is like coming from, right? So he's gonna go ahead and full combo, do the thing. Amaraj into second surprise. Nice. I dropped Droll Knockbird here, which is not the best Droll in the world. He ends up misplaying here. And we'll see, but I don't know if it matters anyway. He goes Lolipo. This is his misplay, because Lolipo, if you guys read it, which everyone should know this by now, but you know, this guy didn't, so I'm gonna say it for everyone, right? This card is Secret Summon. You can special summon 2 yummy monsters from your graveyard. 2, not up to 2. So he doesn't have a name in there, which is kind of funny also, right? Because had he done my play by summoning the Lolipo first, he would have had the Lolipo being able to summon back 2. So even though that wasn't like his intention, like bro, like if he just didn't do this misplay, he would have just accidentally had a second name engraved, and then he would be able to bring 2 back, right? So it's kind of, yeah, so it's kind of funny to think about. It's like his misplay made him do another misplay on accident, which is like kind of troll when he shouldn't have done this anyway. Like if he just like didn't, like, you know what's actually pretty funny? I'm gonna go back to my like first replay. You know how I said the whole good player, mid-level player, or like really bad player thing? Like any bad player would just like summon this Lollipop, right? They wouldn't think about summoning Perulia and making Amaraj. But if you're like a mid-level player, you think about it. I don't know, it's whatever. I'm gonna move on because you know, I'm talking too much about it, but like, yeah, it's kind of funny. So he makes Metal Marcher. Metal Marcher can bring back Lolipo going to Snatchy. It's totally fine. It doesn't like ruin his end board or anything. His end board's like, I mean, it could have been better, but it's okay through Droll and Lockbird. He's gonna go ahead and bring back the Cupsy, going to Herald, and then on his turn he has Surprise, and he has Surprise, which is like still pretty good because he can reborn Surprise. Now let's go ahead and think about my turn for a second, which is like kind of funny, right? So my thought process, I think, is a little bit skewed here. But I'll tell you guys what I'm trying to think here. So my hand is pretty okay. It's not the best hand, but it's not the worst either, obviously. So he's going to start with using Surprise and Standby Phase. Now, obviously, I have Bell, and I can Bell this. And if I do Bell this, I know this Herald of Arclight is a guaranteed negate. Because I know the Surprise is the only way he's going to re-get into Engine. Like, he's not going to spawn another level 1 body out of nowhere. So this Surprise is what's getting him back into the game. So if I Bell here, it's for sure he's getting Arclighted. Which is kind of funny because I let this go. And the reason why I let this go is because I think I'm a little bit greedy here. Because I really want this Herald to negate pre-prep. Because Herald says negate the activation, and pre-prep says you can activate 1, and I have 2. So if I Bell this and then I activate prep, then I'll just have a dead prep, and I'm really greedy because I really want him to negate this prep for no reason so that I can prep again, right? So that's kind of my thought process here by not using this bell. But the thing is, for example, if I bell here, but for example, let's say he doesn't have pre-prep and this is Dominus Purge. Purge negates the effect, like Ash Blossom. He'll probably purge the pre-prep, and then I still have to deal with Herald, which I could have easily dealt with Herald if I just activated the Ghost Spell. The Ghost Spell is like pretty much rendered useless. I mean, it's not useless because like you can still do it on the tag out, which is like pretty good. So I don't know if that's the right play or not. I think I should have belled this, even though like I don't get punished here, obviously. Because let's think about what if like the set is Dominus Purge, right? Or this is Ash Blossoms is Ghost Bell. But for example, you know, Ash and Purge aren't like crazy cards, right? So let's kind of like analyze this and think about what if this is Ash and Purge, which stop pre-prep. Let's say I don't bell this. Okay, he brings back his Yummy Monster, whatever. I go into my main phase, activate pre-prep. I get hit with Dominus Purge. Okay. Now I have Saji and I have Cupsy. And he still has this engine, the Yummy engine, and Herald. And if it negates my Cupsy, the game's over. If it negates my Saji, the game's over. I can't make Amaraj. I have to go like Cupsy. I have to go like Saji, no effect, special Cupsy, no effect. And then even then, it's not that good because I still can't deal with this Herald if this was Purge or Ash, right? But if I bell this, for example, he's going to negate. He has the Yummy Monster right here. I start with pre-prep. Pre-prep gets Purged. That's fine. I now can just go normal summon Cupsy. Activate effect. If the only interruption he has is like Book of Moon. Right? Because he's going to be able to synchro. And then I have Surprise. Which then, okay, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, I still probably lose. Because if he Book of Moons me, I don't have an extender after that. So I guess no matter what, if he has Ash or Purge, I'm still in a pretty bad position. But I'm in a worse position if that happens. Because then, like, I could never get rid of this Herald. So overall, I think it might have been better just to bell this anyway. But it ends up kind of working out for me because he doesn't have either, right? But it's something to think about. I don't really know what's the right or wrong play. I'm just trying to say that, like, by belling this, I think I have a better chance to win versus not. But I also want to explain my thought process of why I didn't bell it. If that makes sense. So let's go ahead and move forward now. So he summons here, he activates pre-prep, which is kind of funny because my game plan was for him to Herald negate this. But if you read Ghost Spell, this card also negates activation. So like it's pretty cool that I can just pre-prep again. even though like I was supposed to bait out Herald, but I guess Ghost Spell gets value too. We're gonna activate another pre-prep. He decides to return. Now I bell because I'm at a point now where I know he must use Herald. And obviously he ain't heralding this, which my whole game plan of him trying to Herald pre-prep is no longer there. So this Ghost Spell will 100% bait this out, and the Mitsurugi cards in general will just always beat the Yummy cards. And then I have Cupsy backed up through all of this, right? So I'm just going to win from here. He's going to activate Herald. He has to. He brings back Cupsy and Lolly. I get that, and I get that. He triggers his effect, tries to draw into non-engine. He draws into a bell that he already used, which is good. It's a good call that he tries to draw into non-engine because he knows that he's going to die to the Mitsu card, so better hope to draw like an Ash or a Purge to be able to at least stop my Saji to get to Ritual Spell. Yeah, active effect, he goes ahead and he gets all his searches. I don't really care because the Mitsurugi cards clean up the Yummy cards pretty well. I just let him get his advantage. It doesn't really matter because I know I'm going to kill him this turn anyway. So him grabbing follow-up is like, who cares? Just don't be scared of the card advantage, right? Like, they're probably going to generate a lot of advantage, but it's no big deal. Then I go ahead and summon Saji. Really cool because I play Amaraj. So I'm going to do the play here, especially summon Cupsy, and then this should be game from here. He has the surprise that it's useless, and he has a bell that he can't use, and this is OTK. We're going to go ahead and go to the next game, which I think he beats me. His hand is cracked. He goes and starts with this. Activate that. Go into Cupsy Synchro. Add his two names. Special, get a second surprise. Go into Starham, effect that, add that back, makes Librarian. At this point, I kind of scoop here because I have no hand traps, and if his Yummy deck is playing TG Hyper Librarian, I'm pretty sure I lost. Like, you were not playing some standard Yummy combo, and I'm not sitting there and watching your cutscene when I probably can't beat it without the Librarian. But if you're doing some Librarian combos, yeah, I'm out of there. Okay, so let's look at this hand. Absolutely insane. And his hand is pretty insane too. So let's see what actually happens this game. We'll give kind of like a play-by-play, I guess. He starts with Perulia. I have Called By. If you have, honestly, I think anytime someone Perulias me, I'm almost going to let it go. I can do full combo, to be honest, and give him like 3 draws, which if I'm ending on that many interruptions, I don't care if we get 3 draws. Like, bro, I'm going to save this Fua for Fulos, because Fulos actually is like good. So this is useless, so I'll let this go through. I go ahead and activate pre-prep. I go ahead and add mirror, and so what's kind of funny here is you know how earlier I said that you should use prayers instead of pre-prep in like the first replays. Here I do in reverse order because I kind of want to get drolled, because go ahead and droll me because you'll turn off your own Perulia. I do have Called By, which is like it like negates my reasoning, but you know, let's say I don't have Called By here, I would still use pre-prep first, because it feels good when they draw have to negate their own Perulia, right? So yeah, we'll go ahead and search Ame and Mirror. He drops the drone Lockbird here because he realizes the Perulia is shit, so I'm pretty glad that I didn't Call By that. So I Called By this here because I have a very heavy Mitsurugi hand, and also like, I mean, I can 100% put up a pretty decent board through the drone Lockbird, but at this point I feel like the only thing that I really want to Called By in terms of hand traps is Fulos, but I feel like at this point, if you were dedicated to dropping a drone Lockbird, that means that you do not have Fulos, because there's no way you were gonna draw yourself out of fooling. So for me, I'm pretty certain by this deduction that he just doesn't have Fua, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just Call By this, because if I really thought that he had Fua, right? I can still make a pretty strong board even through this draw. I can set up Murakumo, Dynamundo, have Prayer set, and Cup C doesn't have to search, right? I can still go into Minion and all that, and I side a Croaky, the other Yummy field spells, for another layer of interruption. So even getting drolled here is not that bad, but might as well, because I have it, right? I have the Call By. So I'm going to go ahead and activate prayers now. So now I'm pretty much going to do my entire combo without giving him any draws. So I'll skip to the end board and kind of explain my reasoning for making the specific end board that I'm making. So I activate Saji here. I get ashed, which is fair enough. So now I have prayers for Habakiri. I search Futsu. I do not summon one from my hand because it is a Perulia draw, and I don't need to be honest. So I go ahead and I search off the thing. I just summoned Saji back because it's a body for me to link climb, because I'm not under Fua, so I can make like an IP at the end. So let's go next. I'm gonna go ahead and ritual summon from my deck now. Go ahead and use that to search prayers. Use that. Yeah, like Perulia is so useless, right? Like, look at this shit. So we go mirror into trap. And then I make IP right here, right? So this is my end board, and I don't use Cup C. Now, let's go ahead and walk through why I made the specific end board, and you know why I decided to not give him any draws at all, right? So I know he has that 2 cards in hand. Now, there's nothing wrong with summoning this Cup C here, giving him 1 draw, and setting up my full Yummy combo on my opponent's turn. And there's nothing wrong with also, like, I could have easily, instead of making IP, turn my Murakumo and my Futsu into Zombie Vampire, right? But then, if I want to keep going to my Yummy engine, I'm going to have to Cup C search and special and give him draws. And that's totally fine. I probably win the game anyway, but I'm looking at this game state and how the cards are, like, too simplified. If you guys can see, he's about to draw the 3 cards in hand, right? I have an IP. Futsu that will bring back Murakumo, and the trap. So like, why would I give him, like, it doesn't matter, right? So like, he has 3 cards in hand. I have 3 interruptions. The best case for him is if he has a card that is a board breaker, first of all, which is a Dark Ruler. If he Dark Rulers me, he has 2 cards left in hand, which one of them needs to be engine for him to even play. So let's say it's like Cookie, right? I just Murakumo pop it. And his last card needs to be another card that stops Murakumo. But if he does that, then I just flip Purification. So in almost any universe, I don't think any combination of any 3 cards is beating my 3 type of interruptions. Even if he has Lightning Storm, I just Purification. And then I have IP plus Board Wipe. I beat Obedience School, Lightning Storm, and a Yummy name. Like, I beat every crazy combination of cards possible in his Yummy deck. But if I give him an extra draw, I just open myself up to losing to more things. He could potentially draw into a nib, and then I get nibbed, right? And obviously I'm still in a good position after that. But then he could easily draw again for a turn and then just have Bell for my prayers. So like, why add that extra risk? Even though it's like super slim that he'll like draw those exact cards. But it's Yu-Gi-Oh, right? It could happen. So there's a chance that like, if I just give him one singular draw, it could be like crazy. But that's not to say that like this board is something that I make all the time. The only reason why I did this is because of the card count in his hand, right? For example, if let's say he didn't hand trap me at all, and he has 5 cards in hand, I would not make this board. This is not enough to beat 5 cards, even 6 cards, right? Like, he could easily have like Obedience School, Lightning Storm, Droplets, Talents, like Name, Surprise, for example, right? He could 5-card combo me, and 3 interruptions, a board wipe, a negate, and an IP might not be enough. It might not be enough if he has that many cards in hand. In that case, if it's like a expanded game state, then yeah, of course, I'm going to summon this Cup C. I'm going to at least play the field spell. I'm going to give him maybe 2 draws even to set up a more beefier board if he has more cards. But in this specific game state, because of how he's hand trapping me and the card count that he's at, I don't see any combination of cards, of 3 cards that can beat me and kill me the same turn. So that's kind of why I ended up with this board and decided to not give him any draws. It's not that I do it every time. It's just the context of the game state. But that's going to be pretty much it. He has this. The Cookie and the Surprise isn't enough. I'm going to make SP Little Knight. I have everything. And as you guys can see, I pretty much win the game from there. Alright guys, if you guys made it this far, which I doubt any of you had, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and sub. Let me know if you guys like these type of long form content. I didn't really know what to make, to be honest, so I was just talking over my gameplay. I tried to make it as detailed as possible, just because like I feel like regular YouTube videos don't have any commentary that's this in depth. So I thought like it'd be nice to talk about what I'm thinking of versus like me going over a replay. I can't really tap into the minds of other people who are playing, but I obviously can tap into the mind of my own, right? So it's kind of nice to review your own replays versus watching a replay. I think that's, you know, pretty cool. And yeah, like, comment, and sub, and I'll catch you all in the next one.